when the lights are about to be turned off, you know what you need. Because you gotta somehow make that paper, right?
Right. Show me the money!
You come to the right place for that, because it's time for Bo Bounce to
Show me the money!
show you the
Show Me the Money, powered by the Golden Moon Casino Sportsbook and award-winning DancingRabbitGolf.com. Book your stay and play right now for this fall and enjoy some amazing golf. The Golden Moon Casino Sportsbook. It's also a sports bar. And Philip M's, the fantastic old-style Vegas steakhouse, all at Pearl River Resort. And we're going to talk SEC win totals with our friend Dave Bartoo, College Football Matrix, among other things in the world of college football. And Bartoo joins us on the Corona Premier guest line. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Just trying to stay cool out here. Humidity might hit 20% today, and I think for the second straight day, we're going over 90 degrees. God help us.
You're trying to rub it in. I see what you're doing there, and we're burning up here. It's scorching.
Yeah, I gotta send you a picture of my backyard. I haven't even turned the water on yet this year.
Are you serious?
No, I'm serious. Dude, it looks like a jungle. It's green as can be. We had really cool spring, massive amounts of rain, and seriously, I think this will be our third 90-plus degree day this year. Third. Oh, and no bugs.
Oh wow, he's just piling on.
Well, you got all the fun football every Saturday, so I might as well shoot back with something.
That's true. I don't know where your Oregon man. It's like crazy pills time out there. There's a different rumor every other minute on what Oregon and Washington could do. And now, yesterday, there's some talk, and I don't think anybody ever thought that they would even consider this, but that Stanford is strongly considering going to the Big 12, and that Cal Berkeley, just because, would go with them. Luganville mentioned this could be kind of like a deal where when the music stops, some teams don't have a chair. As good as Washington and Oregon are, and as much muscle brand as Oregon's built, and Washington's just been winning for a long time, man, Bartoo, it could be nuts. I guess I lean toward it not happening, but
I lean towards not listening to any of that crap. When have in the last 5 years, when have any of these idiots got anything right before it happened? Seriously.
All right, so there is this guy on Twitter that we found that mentioned 6 months ago. I can't. By the way, you don't know who he is. He doesn't have a name on his Twitter handle. And 6 months ago, he said the Big Ten is recruiting USC and UCLA, and everybody, evidently, he's so not small. I don't know what he's got, 8,000 Twitter, but nobody paid attention. Well, then he dropped it again in March, Bartoo, and I don't know who he's a West Virginia alum. I don't know who he knows at what network or where, but he is the only guy in the world of college football media, including, Staples and Dodd and Feldman and blah, 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 Paul Feinbaum, whoever you want to talk about, Kirk Herbstreit.
Right.
He is the only guy that was dropping this months ago, Bartoo, on the Big Ten, was flirting with and recruiting Southern Cal and UCLA. Isn't that amazing he had some kind of source there?
Well, he had a source, right? And it's no different than like when I work on a coaching search, right? And I tell you what's actually happening behind the scenes. How many times have you and I talked off air, and I say, okay, here's what's really happening. And you're like, no way. And I'm like, no, this is exactly, I can tell you some of the biggest hires in the last few years in terms of staffing. I can tell you what really happened versus what the public perceived. So, yeah, that guy probably had a direct source. But again, it wasn't a guy that is quote unquote credible, you know. So, and I think with a lot of the big names, it's clicks, it's throwing enough crap against the wall so that one dart hits. Right? If you throw 100 darts at the board, you're probably going to hit a bullseye. Doesn't mean you're any good. Mm-hmm. You know, so I mean, in this realignment, everybody's got everything wrong, or they just don't know until it happens. And that's the way I look at it. I don't even read it. I don't even look at it. I don't listen to anybody because, number one, it's way out of our control, and number two, chances of anybody being right that is a big name is basically zero.
Right. I don't know who this dude is, and he's not gonna. He's not gonna tell people, you know, who he is. I don't know how, but I do think that there are some software programs that can out you on Twitter if your handle's not your name. But again, somebody'd have to be really committed to go see kind of who he is. All right.
Yeah, I mean, really, who cares? It's kind of fun, right?
I can't believe he dropped it. I didn't know. I can't believe he dropped this at Christmas.
He's probably buried in a field in Iowa somewhere.
Yeah, and then he dropped it again in March and was like, "Hey, it's game on." I'm going, "What?"
Is that March's last tweet? I mean, it might be.
No. He's on fire, man. He is you know, and he could very well miss on what the Big 12 and Pac-12 are going to do going forward.
Right.
But he's tweeting on it every 5 minutes. Okay, I want to talk win totals today. Yeah. I'd like to go with Florida on Pearl River Resort is 6.5. Bartoo. Okay. All right. And they open with Utah. Not ideal schedule because they have 2 Power 5 non-cons. One to open up the year against Utah and one to close out the year at Florida State. So, and then they got, you know, their SEC schedule, and they pull 2 monsters. Well, one is a monster. One is a monster recruiter, hasn't done it on the field. But they pull LSU and A&M. Anyway, I want to walk through this and where you would land if you were betting $100 today on the Florida Gators win total. Over 6.5 or under 6.5?
I'm betting over. I'm betting over on that. And here's the first thing though is I wouldn't be betting on brand new coaching staffs unless there was a better margin. Okay, but I'll walk you through the numbers I'm looking at. So my partner at Matrix Analytical, the one that does all the work for the schools and the coaches, Adam runs all those numbers. So what we do every year is he runs his projection numbers, and then I turn around and I run the TLC numbers, and we see where we're at. And this year I've actually changed the TLC numbers, talent, location, coaching. I'm actually weighting recruiting 60% in everywhere but the SEC. And then the second weight is the coaching is 40% because we have all the coaching staff grades. So when I look at Florida, if you go by talent and coaching, it projects out to an 8-win team, 8-4. So that's above 6.5. Then I go over to Adam's numbers, and he has his projections for Florida. He's got them projected at 7, with a 57.6% chance of being over 6.5. Mm. Okay, so and that number has dropped. That number in my spreadsheet, at least at one of the websites, was at 7. So it was a 57% chance they're over 7. So it's a much higher chance in our numbers that's over 6.5. So if I'm betting Florida, I'm betting over the 6.5 for this season.
Okay. All right. Over on Florida, but as Bartoo said, it's not something that he would just run to the book because it's a new staff. He loves the new staff, but you also got to give them some time.
And the strength of schedule they have. The strength of schedule. So the strength of schedule is I'm using the same talent coaching numbers to project their home and road. Their overall strength of schedule is number 4 in the country. In fact, the SEC has the 4 top slots in these numbers. If you multiply the recruiting by 60%, coaching ability by 40%, and combine them, the SEC is 1, 2, 3, 4. Auburn, LSU, Arkansas, Florida. Brutal stuff for some of these teams.
Hold on. All right, let's go through that. Auburn won.
I just got you off your win total track. Totally.
I know. We'll get back. Hold on. Strength to, but this is all right. Auburn won. Yeah. Go ahead.
Auburn 1.
Okay.
LSU is 2.
Okay.
This is total. I got home and road broken out as well. So Auburn 1, LSU 2, Arkansas 3, Florida 4. Now, 3 out of 4 of those, well, LSU is a brand new staff. Florida is a brand new staff. Auburn is a staff in chaos. And as we talked about on the show last week, Auburn, I have them as the second worst rated coaching staff in the conference. And they're going up against what I would argue is the toughest overall schedule in college football.
I'm surprised. Well, let's talk about the in-state schools real quick, and then we'll get back into win totals.
Yeah.
Where's Mississippi State, and where's Ole Miss on your strength of schedule, Bartoo?
Total strength of schedule. Let's see here. Going down, Mississippi State, I got them at 21.
Okay.
And Ole Miss, I have them at 48.
Okay.
Them at 48. Ole Miss and Clemson have the identical number.
Wow.
Just to kind of give you so I'm guessing Ole Miss's non-conference must be just a cakewalk.
Yeah, no, and that's a perfect segue into win totals for Ole Miss. All right, so that they got a gift from the scheduling gods, considering you're in the SEC for the schedule this year. You got them at number 48.
Yeah.
Okay, Pearl River Resort win totals. Ole Miss 7.5.
Wow. Okay. So when you look at the coaching staff, so when you go TLC, I have them at 8. So that's where I'm at on that. Now, if I go over to Adams' projections and his odds, I think he has them under Ole Miss. Yeah, he's got them under Ole Miss. Okay, so he's got 7.5. So he has he's at 84% chance that Ole Miss is going to be over 7.5. And he's at 9 for a win total. My model is at 8. So if I'm betting this one, and we got a lot of staff stability here. Question mark's going to be at quarterback because you lost your quarterback coach and you got a new quarterback. So that's going to be your question mark there. But by the numbers, I'm going over 7.5 for Ole Miss.
Okay, and I know we already did this a couple weeks ago, but Mississippi State is 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
See,
I wouldn't touch it.
Yeah, I agree. But
I wouldn't touch. Yeah,
I thought their strength of schedule would be better than 21 because they pulled Georgia, along with everybody else that you pull type deal. But
well, it depends on what you're looking at too, right? Okay, so their strength of schedule at home. No, their road strength of schedule is number 11. Okay. So their road strength of schedule is number 11. So that might, in fact, So Alabama, number 1 road strength of schedule by a country mile. You want to see brutal? Go look at their road schedule. Anybody else, people would be like, oh my God, we're going to die. Everybody else is just like, it's Alabama. Who cares? Kentucky, number 2. Second toughest road schedule. Auburn, number 3. LSU, number 4. Florida, number 10. Mississippi State, number 11. Actually, no, Mississippi State, sorry. I am wrong. Number 8.
Number 8.
8 toughest road schedule. So that may be where your perception is you see all those tough road games, their overall SOS should be higher. And keep in mind, I'm just looking at recruited talent and total staff coaching grades. There's nothing that goes into how long the staff has been there or anything like that. It's just pure coaching grades for their careers plus recruited talent. But, yeah, Mississippi State, you're probably looking at that road schedule going, God, that sucks this year.
All right, well, let's go to the two big boys. Talking win totals powered by the Golden Moon Casino Sportsbook with Bartoo on the Corona Premier Guest Line. Let's go Bama, Georgia, 10.5. Your margin for error is slim to none to hit that. However, these two teams are loaded, blah, 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 and we expect them to be awesome. So even though this may be...
Are they both at 10.5?
Yes, at Pearl River Resort they are. Yeah.
Okay.
So they're both at 10.5, Bartoo. So 11-1, you win. You know...
Yeah, 10-2, you're out, right?
10-2, you're out.
And so... I think with Nick Saban, all things Nick Saban, I think we've learned it's better to walk next to the devil than be in his path. So, I mean, if you're betting against Alabama, you're just, right, you're kind of setting money on fire in a way. Because they defy so many odds, so many numbers. You know, by the model, by the coaching and talent model, it's an 11-win team. Adams' model, it's a 12-win team. 80% chance of Alabama hitting the over in his numbers. So I'm taking the over there. I think the better bet is Georgia at 10.5 because Georgia's schedule is much easier, in my opinion. It models out at 12 wins. And let's see where Adam has Georgia. I'll scroll over here real quick. Georgia, he gives them a 78.2% chance of being over 10.5. So for him, both of them are almost 80% chance of being over. Those are two good bets inside the numbers there. I know that in the TLC numbers, Georgia pencils out at 12-0, Alabama at 11-1. So I lean over on both of those. I still like, even though Georgia's schedule's easier, you got to be betting. You got to be betting Saban before Smart, especially Smart lost a lot of guys. You know, he lost his DC, and now you got Will Muschamp as DC. That's got to hurt somewhere. You lost Matt Luke. I mean, one of the top offensive line coaches in the country just said, "I'm done." That was a big deal. That was a big offensive line coach downgrade right there.
All right, let's stop right there. So. The way that you and Adam run your numbers, and I think this is unbelievable. I love what you call it the 11 headsets. That's the 10 on the field coaches and the head coach. And you ran like 7,000 spread. I don't remember what you said, but something insane. Yeah. You've come up with this way to quantify on the field coaching.
Yes.
Matt Luke, people still love him here. So, as an offensive line coach, he graded really well for you and Adam. Is that right?
Elite. He is a 5-star offensive line coach. He's rare air. He is a top 10% line coach of the last 14 years in our system. So that's not really replaceable. It's not really replaceable. He was graded that high before Georgia got him. When Georgia got him, Adam called me and he's like, "Dude, they're going to win a national title with that guy." He goes, he was like, that was the piece in his mind when that happened, because he was let go and bam, Georgia snapped him right up, and then that was a 5-star guy before all the draft picks. So that is a big hit. You know, everybody talks. You know, they look at offensive coordinators and they look at defensive coordinators, and you can look at all the draft picks too. Look at all the draft picks that disappeared, but that doesn't seem to affect Alabama that much. You got to start looking at other things, and you got a good offensive coordinator, great quarterback coach in Monken. You lost Lanning. Now you got Muschamp, who's your DC, and Muschamp as a play caller at the DC hasn't done anything since Texas. Not a damn thing. You know, so that's all on Kirby Smart. But Matt Luke, that was a big deal. They also lost their special teams coach, who was a top 10 special teams coach. They let him go. They brought in a good one. But they have not only taken a step back significantly in starter talent, they have taken a huge step back all over the field on their headsets.
Where did that special teams coach that you liked go?
Tulane.
Wow. Okay.
You know, Tulane speaking of your backyard, Tulane upgraded all over the place. They got some great coaches there by the numbers. Okay, right? Let's quantify for everybody listening. It's always on paper, right? It's based on the career, you know, and we're giving our best guess here. But Tulane upgraded all over the place. But when we're looking at Georgia, I think there's significant look, they're still the top 3 recruiter in college football. Okay, the talent's still everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes down to winning national championships, because that's what's expected at Georgia now, right? Winning national championships. There's nothing else, And now that they've got there, so everything is inches here. And when you start losing players, that hurts. But when you start losing really good coaches and replacing them with guys that maybe just aren't quite as good, that could be the difference between winning a national title and losing one. Look, Nick Saban, when he gets a national title game and doesn't win, it's because he has a C grade or worse offensive coordinator.
And he's bringing back Bill O'Brien.
Yep.
I think
the most amazing Heisman Trophy winner this century, in my opinion. You have a C grade offensive coordinator. That is the only offensive coordinator that is less than 4-star in our system that has won a Heisman Trophy in the last 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't think, not too high on Bill O'Brien. I'm just really high on Nick Saban's talent that he surrounds his coaches with.
Right. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to do more of this, but I'm just trying to find the value in the SEC. Like, what would you, maybe we'll do that next. As far as what's your favorite win totals?
Well, let's go the other way. See what
you got
you're
about 2 minutes
on. Yeah, okay. See, what you're focusing on is you're focusing on all the good teams. But we're just trying to win a bet here.
Right.
Right? We're trying to win a bet here. So let's go take a look at Auburn. I got them, BetMGM has them at 6. And Adam has them graded as a 4-win team with a 71% chance of being under 6 wins. And when I look at their TLC numbers, it grades them out as 0 road wins and 3 home wins.
Yikes.
So when we're looking at projections, so I'm at 3 on TLC. He's at 4 on his metrics, okay? And I got a website, I got BetMGM sitting at 6. Right? That means they have to go 7-5. So one model's at 3, one model's at 4, and they have to go 7-5 to lose that bet. What's Timeout Lounge at right now?
6.5.
Oh, Jesus criminy. Think about that. See, that's the value I'm talking about. You can't just look at teams, how many are they going to win? You also got to look at it the other way. Turn it upside down. How many are they going to lose? And Auburn, I think, is going to lose a whole bunch of them.
We're going to leave it there. We're doing win totals again with Bartoo either later in the week or next week. We're going to do this. We're only 5 Saturdays away, so we'll do some of the bigger names: Texas, Ohio State, Southern Cal, maybe Miami, Clemson, and some others. Bartoo, thank you, buddy. That was awesome. See you, dude. Bartoo on the Corona Premier Guest Line, the Out of Bounds Show. ESPN 105.9 The Zone is brought to you by the Charbroiled Oysters at Drago's Seafood Restaurant and Oyster Bar. Show today was powered by Farm Bureau Insurance. Bundle your car and home and save with your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. Go local and go with the home team, as Jake Mangum says. Farm Bureau Insurance. See you tomorrow.